Okay, good morning. So we have a strength-based class today. We're actually going to warm up with the foam roller first, and then we have 3 strength sections. So make sure you have at least a couple different weights set up. You're going to need something a little bit light to moderate for the burnout sections, but then we also have deadlifts and squats. So make sure you have something heavy enough to work the lower part of the body, and then something in between for our heavy lifts for the upper body. But when you're ready, go ahead and grab your foam roller and then meet me on your mat. We're going to start with the glutes today. So go ahead and place the foam roller about the middle of your mat. You're going to sit with one glute right on that foam roller, lower onto the forearm of that same side. Bottom leg on the floor, top leg wraps around, making like a figure 4. Your hips are somewhat open to the ceiling. Your chest is square to the wall in front of you, and just roll through the glute. If it feels extra tender, maybe you want to stay on one point that you feel that tenderness and keep compressing. Or maybe you want to hold that spot and just gently rock back and forth to kind of release any of that buildup. But if it feels good to just keep rolling, stay right there and keep going. We're going to work our way into that T-band. So take away the top leg, bring it to the back so you can lift yourself up, slide the foam roller under about the middle part of your upper thigh. Take the top leg forward now, and we're going to roll through this outside of your thigh. Try to keep your chest and your hips square to the wall in front of you. So make sure you're not folding the chest to face the floor. This one can often feel pretty tight, so just make sure you're breathing through, you're not adding tension. Slowly release. You go ahead and sit onto your hip. We're going to stay on that same leg, but we're going to move into the calf. So start the foam roller about mid-calf. Take the hands behind you, fingertips face away. Your other leg, you're going to press to the foot to lift the hips, and then roll through the calf. Here, you can start to rotate the foot to face in or out to hit different heads of that calf muscle. The more weight you put into it, the deeper it will be. So if you want to take that free leg and stack it on top to push a little deeper, feel free. But if that doesn't feel good, just place that foot right back on the floor. Feel free to keep rotating the foot in and out. Again, make sure you're breathing. And slowly release. We're going to do this the other side, starting from the glute as well. So go ahead and place the glute right at the center of that foam roller. Lower onto the forearm. Bottom leg stays on the floor. Top leg wraps around to make that figure 4. Your hips are opening towards the ceiling, but your chest is staying nice and square to the wall in front of you. And same thing as the other side. If you feel really tender and you want to just kind of stay on a spot to release, go ahead and do that. Or you can gently rock back and forth, or just keep rolling at a nice easy pace up and down. Whatever suits your needs best. Make sure you're not dumping into the bottom of the shoulder. Keep pressing it up so we're not putting tension in the upper body as we're trying to release the lower body. Just a couple more times here. And then slowly release off. Slide it down to about the mid outside of that thigh. Bring the top leg forward. And now again, we're going to roll through the IT band. Flex the foot if you can. And again, this time, try to keep the hips and the chest nice and square to the wall in front of you. And if this one feels real sensitive, make sure you're breathing, you're not holding your breath. Go ahead, slowly roll forward to come off. We're going to take it underneath the calf. So place the calf about center of that foam roller, hands behind you, fingertips face away, and then lift yourself up to roll through the calf muscle. Same as before, just gently rotate that foot out and in to hit different heads of the muscle. And if you need a little extra, stack the other foot on top. and just push a little deeper into that calf muscle. Nice job, nice and easy. And then slowly have a seat and release off. Set your foam roller off to the side. Set yourself up for world's greatest stretch. So come into tabletop first. Step the right foot to the outside, that right hand. Make sure you take the left knee back a little bit so you feel that opening through the left hip flexor. And then inhale, reach the right arm up to the ceiling, open the chest, open up your hips. Stay here for just a couple breaths. Release the hand back to the floor. Keep everything where it is. Just push back until your right leg is straight and then pull the toes up towards the ceiling, stretching out through that hamstring. If your hamstring's really tight, feel free to keep that knee nice and bent. Just enough so you can actually feel the hamstring starting to open up. Pull yourself back forward, sweep the right leg around to meet where the left is, and then step the left foot forward. Again, feel the opening through the right hip, and then reach your left arm up, opening the chest. Trying to get your left shoulder right over the right shoulder, so maybe not opening so much that you're starting to open up towards the back. Release the left hand back to the floor. Again, sit back until the left leg is straight, and then pull the toes up towards the ceiling. Nice, good, deep hamstring stretch. Make sure you're breathing, especially if it's tight. Just make sure you don't have that tendency to hold the breath. Step the left foot forward, tuck your right toe under to lift that knee, step your right foot in. Nice and easy, like a rag doll, one vertebra at a time. Slowly roll yourself all the way up to rise and stand up. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. Our first strength circuit, we have 3 rounds, 8 to 15 reps apiece. So if you have heavier weight, stay closer to your 8 rep range. If you're using light or moderate reps, stay higher, closer to your 15 rep scheme. So 3 rounds, we have 4 different moves followed by a burnout. So we have a 10-minute time limit for this first set. Deadlifts, upright rows, sumo deadlifts, and renegade rows. So deadlifts first, anywhere between 8 and 15 reps. I'll get you started demoing a couple of reps, and then you can get going. So grab your heavier weights for your deadlifts. You're gonna pull the shoulders down and back, squeeze those shoulder blades together, tuck your ribs and hips towards each other. Your feet are about hip width apart. As you slowly lower back, you're gonna push the tailbone to the wall behind you, bring the weight to about mid-shin, so you have a nice flat back. Make sure the weights aren't pulling you into a rounded spine, so stay in that flat back, and then you press the floor back up to rise. So whenever you're ready, 8 to 15, depending on the amount of weight you have. Make sure you're not squatting, you're turning this into a deadlift, so you should feel this like a nice, gentle forward fold stretch. Feeling it in those hamstrings and in the glutes. Keep your shoulder blades pulled back and together, so at the bottom, you're not rounding the upper back. Pull your hips and ribs together so your core is nice and strong. And keep pressing your feet hard through the floor. Anywhere between 8 and 15, you just want those last couple reps to really be a struggle. So once you feel like, oh, I don't know if I can do 1 or 2 more, go ahead and stop where that is. Write down that rep, and that's gonna be your goal on rounds 2 and 3. Inhale on the way down and exhale as you press yourself back up. Safely release your weights. Write down your reps so you know when you come back for rounds 2 and 3 where you're at. And then when you're ready, we're gonna move into upright rows. So you want something moderate, moving maybe into something heavier. The weights start in a dead hang. Pull again the shoulders down and back. We're gonna pull the weights up right underneath the chest and then lower back down. The weights are gonna stay very close to you. The elbows go slightly back instead of staying in line with the shoulder. Again, 8 to 15 reps whenever you're ready. You should feel this in your shoulders. Exhale as you pull up, inhale as you lower. Staying connected with your breathing. And whenever you reach that rep that you feel like you can't do one more, go ahead and release, write it down, and then that is going to be your goal for the next 2 rounds. If you need to, grab some water. We're going to move back into a deadlift of sorts. This time a sumo deadlift. So we're moving back to the heavy weights. You can use 1 dumbbell or 2, but you want to start the weights in between about the arches of your feet. So if we're looking at a clock, the feet are somewhere between 10 and 2 and 9 and 3, but not so turned out you feel unstable. We're still doing the deadlift form, so the hips are still going to go back, but we're in this wide position. And then we pull the weights back up just like we did in our deadlift. So the weights can either be held together, making like a long barbell, or they can be held side by side, whatever feels comfortable for you. So again, make sure you're not squatting. We're deadlifting. So the chest comes about parallel with the floor. Weights stop again about mid-shin. Tailbone goes straight back like you're trying to touch the back wall. Keep the shoulder blades down and back. You should feel this more in the inner thighs. One more rep. For me, I'm not sure where you are. And then release when you're done. Again, write down where you got in your reps. And you're going to try to match that the next 2 times. Our last lift is a Renegade Row. So if you're going lighter, try to do this in plank. But if you're going heavier weight, do it in a tabletop position. So I'm going to do tabletop. I want to go heavier weight, so knees under hips. Make sure the shoulders are directly over the wrists. We're not back here. You're going to pull that weight, row it back towards your hip pocket, and then place it right back where it was. We're counting both sides as 1 rep, 8 to 15 reps. When you're ready, join in. Keep your core nice and braced. Protect that lower back. Control the weight down. Make sure you're not just flopping it back to the floor. You should feel this in your upper back and your biceps. Exhale as you row. Inhale as you release. Again, brace the abdominals. 8 to 15, both sides. So each side is 1 rep. Make sure you're not just doing 15 singles. Count them double. And then once you hit that point where you feel like you just can't row for 1 more rep, that will be your number. And then release. Write down your number so you can come back to it 2 more times. Take a nice recovery, take some breath, stretch it out whatever you need. And then whenever you're ready, get yourself set up again to start over, back with our deadlifts. So moving back to your heavy weights. Romanian deadlifts are first. We have the Sumo Deadlifts next. So go ahead and get your weights ready. Feet again are about hip width. Tailbone goes straight back. Stop about mid-shin. And again, remember to pull those shoulder blades down and back. No rounding the spine. Try to do the same amount of reps you did in round 1. Focus on your core. Focus on your breath. Feel that through the hamstrings and the glutes, the back side of your body. Getting that same number we got on round 1, and then releasing. When you're ready, upright rows are number 2. So those weights start in a dead hang, but make sure the shoulders are come forward. Pull the shoulder blades back and together. And then whenever you are ready, go for your reps. Nice job, stay with it. Make sure you're not just shrugging the shoulders at the top. The elbows are still driving somewhat back. They should not be in line with your shoulders and definitely not in front of your shoulders. So make sure you have really good alignment. If you're using the same weights for your upright rows as your renegades, just set them up in your renegade position. And then when you're ready, we're going back into our sumos. Sumo deadlift, again, remember the feet are somewhere between 10 and 2 and 9 and 3. The hips still go back, the knees go out wide, tracking over those toes. And you choose how you want to grip the dumbbells, making like one big long barbell or holding them side by side. Squeeze the glutes at the top. Nice and controlled on your way up and down. Stay with it, good job. Try to hit the same number you did in round 1. And then release. Last one for this set, we still have everything one more time, is your Renegade Row. Again, if you have lighter weights, try to do it in a plank. And if you're going heavy, do it in that tabletop position. No matter where you are, tabletop or plank, really avoid the hips rocking side to side. So if you're in a plank, widen your feet. Big foundation is going to help make sure you're not rocking those hips. Exhale on your way up. Inhale as you release the weights. And again, make sure you're counting these in sets since we're isolating one side at a time. Make sure your core is nice and strong, protecting your back. And you should feel this all through the upper back, around those shoulder blades, and into the biceps. And whenever you've reached your reps, release, shake it out, stretch, whatever you need. Take a minute, and then if you're ready, we move into our last round, repeating those 4 lifts. So deadlifts are on deck, Romanian deadlifts. So get yourself in your position, get your weights ready, and then again, we're matching the same reps we did in rounds 1 and 2. So last set, we've done this before. Form should be good. Now you really start to feel it. Exhale as you rise, inhale as you lower. As you start to get tired, stay focused on that form. Don't round the upper back. Try to get the same amount of reps, and then release when you've hit it. Moving from lower body to upper body, after your deadlifts, we're back to our upright rows. Still focusing on the back side of the body, hamstrings and upper back. And when you're ready, upright rows. Press your feet hard into the floor beneath you. Soft bend in your knees. Core is nice and strong, as if someone's going to come along and hit you in the gut. Tighten the abdominals. Again, try to hit that rep. This time, if you have one more, try to get one more. Really get that muscle failure, that fatigue. And again, if you're using the same weights, set yourself up for your Renegade Rose so you're ready to go when we get there. Nice wide stance for your sumos. Make sure you're still doing a deadlift and not a squat, so tilt those hips back. And then when you're ready, Sumo Deadlifts. Flat back, especially if you have heavy weights. Don't let them, when they're at the bottom, you're at the bottom of your deadlift, start to pull your shoulder blades apart and round your back. That's just going to put a lot of pressure through the lower back, and that's not what we're focusing on. We want to really feel those inner thighs and hamstrings. Your grip strength is being challenged as you're holding those weights in a dead hang. Once you're done with your sumo deadlifts, our last one, Renegade Rose. So start to get yourself set up. And then when you're ready, keep pulling that weight towards your back hip pocket, not towards the ribs or underneath the chest, but we're pulling it backwards. And then once you hit your reps, release. All right, take a minute before we move into that burnout. So in 60 seconds, we'll be ready to go. We're going to do a wide to reverse row for our burnout. So you'll want a moderate, maybe even a lighter weight. So we're going to come into a hinge position as if we're doing our deadlift. We have a wide row. Make sure the wrists are below the elbows at the top. Come back down, switch it so your palms face forward, reverse row. Switch it wide, and then switch it reverse. So a wide to reverse row for 60 seconds to try to burn out the upper back. Make sure you're staying in your deadlift hinge position. We don't want to start to just forward fold and put any pressure in the lower back. So keep your core integrity good. Make sure your feet are digging into the mat beneath you, and we're in that hip hinge. All right, so you want light to moderate weights. We're about 10 seconds away. So when you're ready, grab those dumbbells. 3, 2, hinge from those hips, wide to reverse row. So squeeze those shoulder blades together at the top. Stay in your hip hinge. We're here for 60 seconds. So choose a weight that you can do for 60 seconds. You want it heavy enough that by about second 45, we're really struggling, but not so light that you could go for 2 or 3 minutes. And the wide row at the top, make sure your wrists are below the elbows, and the elbows are in line with the shoulders, but slightly behind them. You should feel this all through the rhomboids and the traps, the upper back, around those shoulder blades. All right, we're starting to approach that 15-second finish, so I hope you're feeling it. You should feel this upper back and biceps. 5 seconds, stay with it, you got this. Avoid the rounding of that upper back. And release. Woo, nice job. All right, take a minute, grab some water. We're moving into our second circuit. So we have the same type of setup. We have 4 moves. We're gonna do it 3 times, 8 to 15 rep scheme, and then we have a burnout at the end. So your moves this time are overhead press, suitcase squat, chest press, front rack squat. So again, we're gonna do upper, lower, upper, lower. So for your overhead press, you wanna start the weights. So they're like lined up right next to the ears. The elbows are nice and wide. As you press up towards the ceiling, the biceps line up right next to the ears, so the hands don't come forward or back, and then you lower back down to your starting point with control. What you want to avoid when you press is the arms going forward. Keep them in the exact same plane. They don't go forward or back. Overhead press, suitcase squat. Feet are about hip width. The weights are just like if you were holding 2 suitcases going on a vacation, and we squat, lowering those weights down. The chest kind of drapes over the thighs, and then you press back up, driving the floor away. When we get to chest press and front rack squats, I'll go over those, so it's not too much to remember at once. But if you're ready for your overhead press, pick a moderate to heavier weight if you're staying closer to 8, and then pick a lighter weight if you're going closer to 15 repetitions. When you're ready, get yourself set up. Weights start right next to the ears. Feet are pressed hard into the mat, soft bend in those knees, and we press straight up. Keep the core active. Hips and ribs are pulling towards each other. Exhale as you press, inhale as you lower. Stay connected with your breath. Don't hold your breath. Get to that point where you feel like you just cannot do one more rep. If you start to arch the lower back, definitely stop. Maybe drop to a lighter weight or do less repetitions. All right, write down whatever number you got. That's going to be your goal for rounds 2 and 3. And try to stay at the same weight. And then when you're ready, we're going to move into those suitcase squats. So feet are about hip width. Hold the weights like you were holding 2 suitcases. And then squat down. So we want to drop the hips this time instead of pushing them to the wall behind us, because we're squatting, not deadlifting. So we're focusing more on the front of the body. Make sure you exhale as you press up, inhale as you lower down. Again, stay within that rep scheme. So pick a weight that will suit you. And then when you're ready, release. All right, up next, we're going to be on our backs for chest press. Your chest is a large muscle, so it can handle a heavy weight. So choose something heavier. Unless you're going to be staying in your higher rep scheme, then stay with your moderate weight. I'm going to use 30s. When you're ready to get a heavy weight to the floor, pick up the weight so you have them on one head. As you roll back, bring the weights with you, pop them up. All right, the elbows are in line with the ribs, not your shoulders. So we're making like a little triangle from the point of our head to the point of our elbows. Exhale, press the weights up. Inhale, let it lower down. Your tricep barely taps the floor and you're pressing right back up. Exhale up, inhale down. Again, stay within your rep scheme. Now here, watch your wrists. Make sure they're not hinging backwards to handle this load. If they are, maybe pick a lighter weight to protect our wrists and our grip strength. We want form over everything. We don't want to just go heavy to go heavy, right? We want to make sure we're ready to handle the heavy load. Once you get to that point, you feel like you're not going to be able to get one more rep in. Release. How do we get out of this? Same way. As we drop the head of the weights, we sit up, and then the other head of the weight drops once we're at the top. Your next one is a front rack squat. I encourage you to try to do these ramped style. So if you don't have a ramp or something to prop the heels up, just set 2 of your other weights side by side. If there's circle weights, maybe avoid that so they don't roll underneath of you. And then pick a weight you want to rack up for your front squats. So if the heels are propped up, make sure the heels are pushing into whatever you're using, but the ball of the foot is still making contact with the floor. Rack your weights up so your elbows are in line with your shoulders. We're going to push the knees out as we sit in between the heels, trying to get your tush below the knees. That's why your heels are lifted. Knuckles should be facing the ceiling. Make sure your elbows are shoulder height so they're not dropping down. And make sure the weights aren't completely on the shoulders. They're just resting there. And you're supporting the rest of the weight in the upper body. Eight to 15. Should really feel this in the quads, especially if you've got those heels propped up. They help you get a fuller range of motion and get really deep into those muscles. All right, write down your number. You're gonna match that for rounds 2 and 3. When you're ready, we start over, overhead press. So go ahead and get yourself set up. And match your reps from round 1. Exhale as you press up. So really avoid arching the lower back. Pull the hips and ribs together. Exhale as you press, inhale as you lower. And then when you're done, release down. So really avoid having to do this. If you have to pop the lower back, go to a lighter weight, no shame in that. When you're ready, suitcase squats. Feet are about hip width apart. Those weights are just in a dead hang. And we sit all the way down, resting the belly and the chest on the thighs, as if we're gonna put the suitcases on the floor. Keep the entirety of your foot connected with the floor. Press the floor away as you rise. Match your reps from the previous round. And when you're done, release. All right, we have chest press. So remember how to get in and out of this. Pick it up on one head. As you roll back, bring the weights with you to get yourself set up. And then match your reps from round one. Let's go. Exhale, press up. Inhale, lower down. Stay connected with your breath. Keep your lower back connected with the floor. Make sure these last couple reps, you're really, really fighting for them. Get to that point of failure. Don't be scared of it. That's how we grow. It's how we get stronger. When you're done with your chest press, get set up for your front squats. Again, propping those heels up so we can get nice and deep into those quadriceps. Rack the weights. Sit in between the heels, drop your tush. Press through the heels to rise back up. Keep your elbows in line with the shoulders from top to bottom of your squat. When you're done, step off first. Safely release your weights. Nice job. We have it one more time. If you need to shake it out, if you need to stretch, if you need to grab some water, take a beat, breathe. And then when you are ready, we have overhead press. Matching reps, staying with the same weight. All right, weights up, knuckles to ceiling, wrists are neutral. Exhale as you press up, inhale as you lower. Matching reps. Safely release those weights. Shake out the shoulders if you need. And then you get them back in that dead hang for our suitcase squats. Inhale as you lower, exhale as you press up. Press your foot hard into the floor. Keep that core strong. Don't let your rib cage pop open. Don't let your knees buckle together. Keep pressing those knees out. Safely release the weights. And then work your way to the floor for chest press. Keep practicing how to safely get in and out of these. Last set should be a real struggle. So again, just like the previous round, if you can get just one more rep, try for that one more rep. Make sure those wrists are neutral, knuckles to ceiling. And then safely come out of your lift. And transition into the last time through for front squats. Make sure you're safe through the bottom half first. Rack your weights. And then go. Make sure your spine is nice and tall. We're not folding forward. And then step off to release. Grab some water. All right, in less than a minute, we go for our burnout. Front raise. So we have our lighter, moderate weights. Make sure we're not arching the lower back. Front raise. For 60 seconds. As much as you can do. Right now, just take a breather, relax, let your body slightly recover so you can be ready for your burnout. Again, grab some water, grab a towel, whatever you need. Stretch it out, shake it out, walk around. 15 seconds and we go. Really make sure as you get tired, you're not popping that rib cage open and arching that lower back. If it gets to be too much, drop the weights, take a breather, and then join back in. All right, 3, 2, front raises, here we go. Burning out the shoulders. Lower with control, make sure you're not just dropping the weights. Exhale up, inhale down. Relax the shoulders, no shrugging. Really avoid swinging the body. We want to really focus on the strength here. Relax the shoulders down and back. Stay with your breath. Keep the feet pressing into the mat. 30 seconds, stay with it, come on. You got this. If you can, don't drop, but only if that form is good. You are in your 15-second range, come on. This is when it should really be a struggle. Fighting for every rep. You want to swing that body, but you know better, so you're not. Less than 5 seconds, come on. And release, nice job. All right, our last circuit is a burnout circuit. We have 4 rounds, but we're not repeating them. 4 rounds in that you have 4 different rep schemes. 12, 10, 10, 12. We have hammer curls, cross body bicep curls, kickbacks, and overhead tricep extensions. So we're really gonna burn out the upper body, arms, biceps, and triceps specifically. So if you're kind of like me, make a mess when you're lifting, get your weights out of the way if you need. We go in about 8 seconds. 12 reps, 10, 10, 12. Hammer curls are first. 3, 2, let's go. So your palms face each other. Elbows stay directly below the shoulders. Full extension at the bottom, full contraction at the top. 12 reps to start. Try not to drop your weights for all 4 rep schemes, but if anytime you need to, listen to your body. All right, here's 11. Once you hit 12, it's 12 cross body, so you take it all the way to the opposite shoulder. Again, it's a full contraction, full extension. There's 3. Control it on the way down. 6. Really squeeze the biceps. Last 1. All right, those kickbacks. Deadlift, hip hinge. Pull the weights up so they're in line with the ribs. Kick them back. Again, full extension. You also want to keep the hands pulling in towards one another. So don't take this out super wide, like to the corners of your room. Try to take it to the wall directly behind you. That's 8 for me. 12 reps. When you're done, double up your weights, take it overhead. Overhead tricep extension for 12. Again, make sure the forearms stop about halfway, so they're in a 90-degree bend in the elbow. Press your feet hard into the mat. Press the weights all the way back up. Once you hit your 12 reps, release, hammer curls, 10 reps this time. Here's round 2. First round might not feel so bad. Round 2, you might still feel like, oh, I got this. Hopefully by rounds 3 and 4, we're struggling. 10 reps here. Once you hit 10, it's into those cross body curls. 10 reps. That's 8 for me. Once you hit 10, you hinge and you go right into those kickbacks. Again, press them to the wall behind you, so we're not going wide. Make sure you're breathing, don't hold your breath. Once you hit 10, double them up. Overhead, 10 overhead triceps extensions. Once you're done with 10, you do 10 again of all 4. All right, let's do it round 3. Hammer curls, 10 reps. Hopefully you're starting to feel it. If not, on these next 2 rounds, maybe you try a heavier weight. It's okay if you have to drop again. But if you're not feeling it by round 3, maybe you can try that heavier weight. Once you hit 10, we're right into those 10 cross bodies. Nice job, stay with it. Exhale as you extend. Here's 9 for me. Right into those kickbacks, 10 reps. Now, if you're moving quicker than me, go right into your last round, 12 reps. After you hit 10, double them up. We go overhead. Keep those elbows pulled in nice and tight. Once you hit 10, last round, we're back to 12. This is it. This is your last round. Stay with it. Make sure you're still getting that full extension on the bicep curls. Don't start turning them into half range reps. Once you hit 12 cross bodies, right into it. Finish strong. Really contract that bicep. And then once you hit 12 kickbacks. Get those triceps. Reps. Once you're done, last one, you double them up, rack it up. Press the heads of those weights directly up to the ceiling. Relax the shoulders, no shrugs. Focus on the triceps. Ooh, start to feel them. And release when you are done. Make sure to write down what weights you use for each lift, how many reps you did in our previous sets. That way, when we come back to repeat this workout in 10 weeks' time, we're going to be 5 pounds heavier. So we're going to keep increasing our strength and keep moving up. All right, if you're ready, take that arm across the body, stretch out that shoulder, make sure your shoulders are nice and square. We're not lifting one above the other. And breathe. Awesome job today. Keep this same arm, take it into a tricep stretch. Pull that elbow up towards the ceiling and back. Breathe. Release, switch arms, take the arm across the body, keep your shoulders nice and square. Take it off to the side, tricep stretch. Release if you need support, find something to balance against. Grab the foot, bring the knees together, push the hips forward, elongate through the quadricep. Slowly release, switch your sides. Again, pull those knees together, push the hips forward. You lose your balance, no worries, just get it again. Release, last one, fold forward, stretch out those hamstrings. Let the crown of the head fall towards the floor. Bend the knees if you need to let the belly just kind of lay on top of the thighs. And then one vertebra at a time, slowly roll all the way up. All right, that was your push-pull strength day. Tomorrow we get to do some cardio-based exercises. So until tomorrow, have a great rest of your day, and I will see you then.